What's up? Welcome into Boston has entered the chat. He's Travis Thomas. I'm George Bilecki in the PNC Bank studio. We got a packed show for you guys today. Trav, Olympics have come and gone. U.S. went double gold. How we feeling today, my friend?
I'm feeling good, man. Proud to be an American. I was singing it before we got on air, and I blew all my vocal cords out, so I'll spare you for now. But you heard it off camera. It's all good.
Man, thrilling semifinal we had for the men's and the final, of course, and then the women's team closing it out on Sunday, 1-point win over France. We'll get through all that. We got a packed show for you guys today. We'll go through both those basketball finals. Also, Jason Tatum commenting on whether or not he's made a decision yet on the 2028 games. We'll go through some of our favorite Olympic moments. And, of course, we dive into the NFL preseason and talk about what's going on with the Patriots with Drake May, Joe Milton, and bye-bye Juju Smith-Schuster. You know, Travis is excited about that one. But, Trav, let's start with the women's basketball team. They win gold once again. Everything that went into this team of how are you leaving off Caitlin Clark? This is the roster you're going with. Diana Taurasi still in the Olympics. They beat France in a thriller, 67-66. The only time in the entire Olympics when it was counting the games that a game was decided by less than 12 points. They squeezed one out against France. You brought the fight to them, but it was awesome to see the response to adversity Team USA did and just how their stars stepped up when they needed to.
8 straight golds, absolute powerhouse, factory of excellence. And you just glossed over the fact of, hey, they escaped from France. That was one of the best games ever of all time in any sport. That was a tremendous finish there. Team USA, and kudos to France too, but they both played sloppy. Turnover city. How about the poor shooting on both sides, both teams? In the end, I felt like it was a war of attrition, GB. I mean, Team USA was just the last team standing, tough as nails. They got lucky on that last shot that her foot was on the line, of course. Luck is a part of it. That's some of this stuff. Team USA gets it done yet again. But it's clear after watching both the men's and the women's complete Olympic tournament at this point, the rest of the world, we can no longer even say are catching up, George. The rest of the world has caught up to USA. So these gold medals, I know everyone thinks about the dream team in 92. I'm a kid of the 90s. Of course, I think about it, but those days are gone, George. I mean, honestly, to win gold now, men's or women's side of the bracket, I mean, it's just going to get harder and harder each Olympics. So we need to enjoy this now because a couple slip-ups could be in our future, no doubt about it.
I think the men are much closer to the rest of the world catching up. The women, they still have a sizable gap. Like you said, 8 straight gold medals. And how they ran through this tournament, winning games by 24, 13, 19, 14, 21. And had to come back against France. Asia Wilson, phenomenal. Double-double, 21 points, 13 rebounds. Kelsey Plum, 12 points, 6 for 6 from the free throw line. Kalia Copper, 12 points, 5 rebounds. Hit a ton of tough shots and free throws to close out the game late. I just loved – it was the same thing we saw on both sides. But for the women's national team, Asia Wilson stepping up, Copper stepping up. Breanna Stewart finished with just 3 rebounds, but 2 huge ones at the end. Defensive board, tied at 53 in the game. That led to a Copper layup. She had an offensive rebound under 2 minutes, an assist on another Copper bucket to put USA up by 3. And then a block right before Plum and Copper had the free throws to put the game away. You just see the greats of the women's game stepping up and elevating on this international stage. As they ran through the whole tournament, this is what you want. You want excitement. I love we got it in the championship game. It was cool to see it against a very talented, a good shooting France team as well. It was awesome just to see front to back how that all went down. The men's team, though, I think they still – that's the one that's closer to me on all that. But what we saw semifinals, right? That game with Serbia where they had a team that came out and shot lights out, but then it got tight at the end. We saw what Bogdanovic was doing, calling out Carmelo with the threes to the head celly, which is nuts to me. More importantly, insane to get in LeBron's face, but he was just in blind confidence at that point. But they came out shooting, and they brought it to USA, and then they went 0 for 10 in the fourth quarter from 3. And we saw finally USA come together and play as a team. I'm talking semifinal game. Joel Embiid, 3 huge shots towards the end. Steph Curry hitting threes, but coming off an Embiid screen. Kevin Durant bringing the ball up court, wanting to take that long 3 as he's done so many times, deferring to LeBron in that one, taking it to the cup. And then you go to the championship game and what they did themselves, beating France as well, playing a Wemby team, a really good France team. And for them, same thing, a battle. What's going to be the memory from Team USA's gold medal game, of course, will be Steph Curry, though. 4 straight threes to close it out. The first 3 were nuts. His fourth was just the most absurd heat check I'll ever see in my life. But it was him with good defenders on him and faking out Yazubele with his right step, a step back in Batum's eye. Is double teamed, gets rid of the ball. Then Booker finds him after driving to the cup. They leave him open. And then you finally saw the gravity of Steph at the end where it's a double team 5 feet from beyond the 3-point line with 2 defenders in his face, pulling him in, defers it to KD, gives it back to Steph, and he just went, let me heave this one up. If it goes in, it goes in. What I
Yeah.
loved is I'm someone that's always root for Steph. It's fun to watch him play in that Warriors basketball, minus the finals where they beat the Celtics. But to finally have him on your team, right? I would just watch it as a normal bystander if it's a Warriors playoff game or regular season game. But for Steph Curry to finally be on the team you want to win, to see how he takes over, and not just takes over, but just crushes everyone's heart. It was some of the most exciting basketball I've ever seen. This is a game that's monumental. Semifinals, there's 5 MVPs on the floor, including Jokic opposite of them. Then you go to the finals, it's LeBron, it's KD, it's Steph, all those guys to close out that game. And then on top of that, it's them going against Wemby, who's the next GOAT.
Yeah, Wemby, probably a future MVP. I would think we would both feel like there. Look, you mentioned Steph Curry against the Celtics. It's the same thing we saw in that finals too. Celtics felt like the better team, and Steph just took it over and brought it home for the Warriors. That's what we saw for Team USA in that gold medal game. Steph took over. He took matters in his own hands. But I will tell you this, George, I'm looking at the box score now, just kind of thinking back to the game. Wemby, 26.7 boards. I mean, this guy's just unbelievable, man. Like, he was doing stuff in that game I've never seen someone of his size do. And it sounds like we continue to say that consistently with Wemby. Every time we watch him, he's doing something new that you haven't seen someone of his size do before. I think back in this game, the gold medal game, he hit Embiid with a little hezzy, like he was going to pull up from 3. Of course, Embiid fell for it. And then Wemby takes it to the basket and dunks. There is a pterodactyl fly right now in the studio. I don't know if you could see that or not. It keeps buzzing around me. So, George, if you see me take out a pterodactyl fly, don't panic. It was me or him. He's got to go. But Wemby hits Embiid with a hezzy at the top of the key, goes to the basket, dunks it, screams on Team USA. As impressed as I was with Steph Curry, and how could you not be, that final flurry in the last 2 minutes of that game, my God, I left that game thinking this Wemby kid is a problem, not only now, but for the future. They asked him after the game in the post-game interview, what do you think about, your opponents and future Olympics? And he said, I'm learning so much right now. I'm worried for all of them. And he's right. I'm worried too, Wemby. He's an absolute stud, GB.
He hated getting silver. He was so pissed off. You see the elation from USA, the excitement, because that's likely the final Olympic game we'll see for LeBron. I will never believe it until it happens. But he'll be 43 in the next games. Likely the last for Kevin Durant. Likely the last for Steph Curry. Last time we'll see those 3 on the same team. So there's that excitement. They did it. Obviously winning gold and got close towards a final. And they cut to Wemby. That kid was so pissed off. And I would believe it already right now if someone told me he's going to be great. Because I buy into it. He has the skill, obviously has the size. He has a 3-point shot, which terrorizes me the most of all of it, what he's going to do in the league. But to get that taste and know what it takes to get to the finals and know what it's like to see such a talented Team USA. Because let's face it, the 2028 team is going to look worlds different without one of the greatest players to ever play the game, the greatest shooter to ever play the game, and a top 3 scorer to ever play a game, that last one being Kevin Durant. Same thing with Steph on what he does from 3-point ball. There's going to be different roles. There's going to be different leadership. The experience that an Anthony Edwards picks up from being a part of this run, playing crucial minutes. Devin Booker buying into his role but stepping up. Anthony Davis, he's been healthy the last few years. Let's see if you can string it together for another Olympic run, and then we'll see what other guys do. I don't want to make the joke of it, but if Jason Tatum decides to play in the games, and we'll get to that, same thing on him. But if you go on the reverse on what this does for Victor Wembanyama, is that it just fuels him even more. We say how much these Olympics are going to piss off the Boston Celtics. these Olympics are going to piss off Wemby, and he's going to want to put together the
Yeah.
best French team possible, but also for himself. He's coming off his rookie season in the NBA right into the Olympics. Now he knows what it takes to get through those 82 games. He hasn't been to the playoffs yet. But then beyond that, come 2028, when his body's far more mature, his game
Yep.
is so much further along than it is right now, which is insane to think. And defensively, everything he brings, yeah, Wemby in 2028, I wouldn't be shocked if it's the same final. I wouldn't be shocked if France can pull off an upset and finally dethrone USA. And it's all because of who they have as their best player.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point about the all-time greats, the OGs on this team. I mean, that cannot be, ignored. Not having a LeBron, likely, a Kevin Durant, a Steph. I mean, I love all these young players on this team, but I don't know. I don't know who's going to be the guy, who's going to step up in those moments. If I had to bet now, Wemby or the field, I'm taking the Frenchman. I am. He's that good. He's that special, George, and he's got that dog in him.
Yeah, it would be on USA. It's Anthony Edwards. His confidence is growing. We see what he meant to this team, the minutes he was playing. Booker hit big shots against Serbia. But then you go from there. I think Bam would be back. Who fills out the rest of this team? Tatum should be there. We'll see if Jaylen Brown even wants to play for USA after what happened. If I'm him, I'm finding a way to declare citizenship in Spain or Canada as an FU to USA and bringing it to them, man. Really am. Yeah, at this point, F it. Go. He likes his fashion. Go to Paris. Buy yourself a penthouse or an apartment. Boom, you're a resident there. Team up with Wemby. Really piss off Grant Hill and Team USA for what they did to you. Let's get into it on what Jason Tatum said about his limited role in Paris. He did say it will not affect his decision to participate in the 2028 games. He said this: after he did not play in 2 of the 6 Olympics games, was a DNP against Serbia, 11 minutes in the gold medal game. He said, quote, if you ask me right now if I was going to play in 2028, it is 4 years from now, and I would have to take time and think about it, of course. So I'm not going to make any decision based off how this experience was or how it felt individually. A lot of people texted me, reached out, said, make sure this fuels you, which I appreciate. There's a lot of people that care about me. I think the tough part is, yes, you can use things to fuel you, but I'm still human. Kind of leaves you like a cliffhanger, but I'm still human of like, do I want to come back? This is how I'm going to be treated. Man, Steve Kerr, he has to thank Steph Curry, whatever bonus he gets for this Olympic run, give it all to Steph Curry and LeBron James, split it between those two. Because if not, how inconsistent he was with lineups, like switching them every minute, every 2 minutes, it felt like. He had the same closing group, but just what he does with a Jason Tatum, who is a big defender, a playmaker. His shot wasn't there, and they needed shooting. That's why Devin Booker got minutes over him. But someone you could use so much defensively and just refusing to put him out there. And the other guys he had, it was a lot of questionable stuff from Steve Kerr. And the guys on USA, like Kevin Durant said it themselves, against Serbia, when we had to win, when we had to turn it on, we weren't drawing up plays. We were just going out and hooping, and they were playing off of each other. They were playing as a team. It wasn't hero ball, but they were going out, making decisions, doing it on the floor quick. Because with Durant, Curry, and LeBron, you have 3 of the smartest players in the league, and they just played. And they showed they didn't need Steve Kerr. So I wonder what 2028, that coaching situation would look like.
I hope Joe Mazzulla gets a look. I mean, that'll help Jaylen Brown mend some fences, get him on the team. You're going to play Jason Tatum. By the way, I couldn't agree with you more about not only Tatum, the defender, but Tatum could have easily helped crashing boards. Tatum's a very good facilitator of the basketball as well at his size. It's not all about scoring. So if he's not shooting the ball well, cool. He can help you in other ways win games. Steve Kerr didn't see that. I thought it was disrespectful. That Tatum quote you read, he has handled everything beautifully, George.
Yeah.
But he's clearly pissed off, and he should be. But I'm glad he's not using it against Team USA. It sounds like he's going to be in for 28. And remember, those games are in Los Angeles. That plays into this too. These guys are going to want to, wear Team USA on their backs, on their chest, in America. It's a home game, just like it was for France in these gold medal games for these basketball games. Same deal now for Team USA.
I wonder that if that'll change some guys like a Paul George to want to try and make that team as a vet, right? To push it. We'll see what his bill of health is. But him being from LA, Guys like
Maybe.
that. Kawhi's going to be out of the picture. Couldn't even make it this way. But it's on your home soil. What does 2028
Right.
in LA look like? And
Right.
I want the narrative. I would love to see it. I wouldn't be surprised if Wemby, that would be sick if 2024 brought USA winning it and beating Wemby in Paris. And then 2028 has Wemby stealing the gold from USA in LA. But that could change the mindset of certain guys like Jaylen Brown, where, he's really sharp, really smart. He knows what's going on. He's self-aware. That I don't think he would want to be booed in his home country on the floor in the Olympics. If it was international, that could be a different story. So that's my wish list of him embracing being the villain, but he might just leave that up to Canada, Germany, and France themselves and stick with them. I want to say this, and this is something, we always have those, is he in the Hall of Fame? Is he not? I think this gold medal is the final punctuation for Jrue Holiday to get into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Now, he was never the best player on a great team, but since he stepped into the league in 2009, he was always one of the best defensive point guards in the league. And we've seen from 2018 on him be one of the best defenders in the league, point blank, period. 2021 wins an NBA title with Milwaukee. He's the second best player on that team, averaging 17 and 6, then goes and wins a gold in Tokyo in the delayed games. Then this year, as a fourth best player for the Boston Celtics on a historically great team. So being the fourth best is like being the second best on a Milwaukee team. Again, gets another NBA title, again, gets another gold medal, playing 13, 14 minutes a night for this great team. And same thing with the Celtics. His shooting is down. His scoring was down, but it was a different role. But again, being a defender that can defend 1 through 5 and a crucial piece to both the Celtics as NBA champions and Team USA winning gold. He is one of 33 players in league history to be all defensive 6 or more times in his career. And that's while averaging 17 and 6 over the course of his career as well. Being a point guard in the era of Steph Curry, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, Kyrie Irving. These are the guys he's matching up with in the backcourt era. I think Jrue Holiday, and I'll say he'll also get in because he's one of the most respected guys in the NBA right now. But I say that aside, to achieve all those accolades, year 13 and after of him in the league, I think this is the final piece for him to get into the NBA. And he also has a few years left, probably more on his NBA career as well.
Yeah, listen, I couldn't agree with you more, and I would add to that. Jrue Holiday's a Hall of Famer. I wrote this down while you were talking. Jason Tatum, you start looking at his resume right now. Al Horford is a Hall of Famer. I think Brad Stevens, when it's all said and done, with his contributions to both college, NBA, coaching, and then now front office, Brad Stevens will be a Hall of Famer. We'll see about Joe Mazzulla. Jaylen Brown needs more individual accolades, but those will come. I think Jaylen Brown could end up being one. So we could look back on this Celtics team, man, and just be like, wow, just like we do on the old school. When we look at a Larry Bird, a Kevin McHale, all these dudes, I think we could look back on this Celtics group and say, look at the collection, not just Jrue Holiday, look at the collection of Hall of Famers they had on those teams.
Yeah, I need to see Brad Stevens get another ring. Joe Mazzulla, I'm not going to even flirt with him in the convo. I need more than 2 years coaching. Yeah, he got the ring. Again, give credit to Brad Stevens if he put that together. Joe Mazzulla got the buy-in. He got them to play hard, even after cruising for 82 games and only dropping a few games throughout their run to the finals. But still, I need to see more from that. What were, before we close this book on the Olympics, what were some of your favorite moments from this past games?
Bro, I have 1,000. Look at this. I wrote on sticky notes all my moments. So look, I'm going to just run through these. Noah Lyles, the photo finish. The men's and women's 4x400 relay. USA men's and women's both won gold. The women's annihilated everyone in their path. Steph Curry cooking France, of course. Also, the women's game against France we just talked about. I wrote Katie Ledecky's dominance again. How about Simone Biles? Dominance again. And then I wrote all the viral moments from the shooting competition, the break dancing. My son was going crazy during Steph Curry cooking, but we were watching the women's soccer game. It was Team USA against Brazil, and the goalkeeper for Team USA was making incredible saves. They won that game 1-0, and my son was super hyped for that too. George, he's a keeper, so he was loving that. So it was really a tremendous Olympics. I would even go back. Remember all the outrage from the opening ceremonies? Even that was memorable. People going crazy over that. I mean, that was great. All the conspiracy theories, like Aaron Rodgers out of nowhere, was fantastic. So I loved all of it. I thought this was a fantastic Olympics. You got to throw Snoop Dogg in there as well, Rando, and Flavor Flav. Flavor Flav was Rando too.
Water polo, yeah, right. All those moments. I got to go with. I just loved Carl Lewis stepping up and just gassing Team USA track and field because they had baton issues, and this goes to him just straight up calling out the whole program. Some of the tweets he put out, like Team USA did everything wrong in the men's relay. The passing system is wrong. Athletes running wrong legs, and it was clear that there was no leadership. It was a total embarrassment and completely unacceptable for a USA team to look worse than the AAU kids I saw. And then he goes with this. It is time to blow up this system. This continues to be completely unacceptable. It is clear that everyone at USA Track and Field is more concerned with relationships than winning. No athlete should step on the track and run another relay until this program is changed from the top to bottom. Carl Lewis just wanting to blow everything up. And I love it. He's calling out. They're more concerned about politics there than actually putting out a good track and field team and winning medals. And it's true. We saw it in the relay. They looked like they didn't know what they were doing. It looked sloppy. It looked bad. And for USA in track and field to not medal is just an absurdity because they have the athletes. And obviously there's the resources. So credit to those that beat them. I just love a legend like Carl Lewis just calling out an old establishment, like however USA track and field is ran, for the BS that it is. And it's probably, I don't know the details of it. But if Carl Lewis says it and it's on Twitter, I'm going to roll with Carl Lewis on this one. It's probably all BS politics like we've seen in Team USA basketball and not putting the best team out there and putting certain coaches there that shouldn't be there. Or like USA track and field where a guy that knows the sport watches it. He's probably connected enough in the community that he knows how certain people are in certain seats. He's just calling them out for what it is.
Every gold counts. We should have more gold medals than China or anyone else. So you're absolutely right. Carl Lewis is right. We can't be messing around with this stuff. Every gold medal counts. We're America. We got to be the top in everything.
Yeah, USA and China tied with 50 gold medals. 40. I saw 50 out in my notes. USA total medal count 126. China total medal count 91. So I guess we win the tiebreaker. I only really care about golds on this one, but I'll take it. All right, let's get on to talking some football now. For the Kansas City Chiefs, this is the first shot, man. They upgraded the receiving core, went out and signed Hollywood Brown, who's a good like middle of the field, intermediate to deep ball threat, but can get stuff done underneath. Good complimentary on top of Rashee Rice. We know they drafted Xavier Worthy, but this team can't go for the three-peat and keep rolling out Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Mecole Hardman. So they did that. But Marquise Brown suffered a dislocated shoulder in a preseason game. Andy Reid said, quote, he'll miss some time. I'm not going to get into the exact of the injury, but Tyreek Hill suffered a similar injury in 2019. He missed 4 games. And what's big with his shoulder injury, it needs to properly be repositioned by the doctors to pop the shoulder back in. So it's pretty precise. But this is the level of concern where everyone around the league's going, okay, you signed those receivers. He got hurt. What happens now?
I mean, listen, bro. So what? What's he going to miss? A month? Maybe 4 games? He'll be back. I mean, we watched Patrick Mahomes literally win a Super Bowl with less than he has a wide receiver right now. So I think he'll be fine. I mean, I'm not that concerned. If he was gone for the season, then that could be a different – did you see it, George? You see the fly? If he was gone for the season, that'd be a different story. But, I mean, you saw it, right? I had the guards up. But, I mean, so what? He misses, 3-4 weeks? And you said it. He's not Jerry Rice any damn way. So I think they'll be just fine. They're going to come out. They're going to give that violent runner, Pacheco, your boy from Jersey, they're going to give him carries. Travis Kelce's going to eat. Patrick Mahomes going to be Patrick Mahomes. And then they'll get Hollywood Brown back and be just fine. I'm not panicked at all.
It's a three-peat. Health matters. It's all about who's healthy at the right time. The Chiefs got healthy and they were healthy. And look what happened to the Niners with injuries they had towards the end of the year. Clearly had an effect on the Super Bowl. If I'm them, it's tough. Like, go out and look at the free agency receivers. I mean, let's get into it because the timing of this is Juju Smith-Schuster gets cut one day. Marquise Brown gets carted off the next or have to be taken to a hospital. he'll be fine come regular season. But even right away, Juju gets cut. My buddy that's a Chiefs fan remembers Juju for 2022. All he texted me said was, come home. Juju, it's time. Come back to KC. And I told him, it's not 2022 Juju Smith-Schuster. Can't get separation, bad drops, doesn't have juice, doesn't have pop, doesn't have speed. And he could say he's 100% healthy, but his 100% right now in 2024 isn't what it was a couple years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I think he's washed. I think he's done being in the NFL. Because if a team with a poor receiving room, as they have in Juju Smith-Schuster, wants to cut him, that says about his ability. A team that needs a veteran in the room to teach those guys how to be a pro. And Juju's been in the league since 2017, so he knows what it takes to be a pro. For them to cut ties with him and say, Jalen Polk, Javon Baker, 2 rookies, go ahead. KJ Osborne, year 4, go ahead. Kendrick Bourne, off an ACL, go ahead. For them to say that and they're fine with cutting Juju and eating almost $2 million, that says all you need to know about Juju Smith-Schuster to me. I don't think he'd be right for the Chiefs. I think they'd look at him. They'd probably give him a look and bring him in. They go, nah, we're fine. We'll pass. Keep on walking. But I just think that's the last we see of him in the NFL. He'll get tryouts. Maybe he lands with a really bad team that needs a receiver. But I just think his body and his knee, his legs, they're just not the same as they used to be.
I'll be honest with you, George. I want to be as clear as possible. I don't give a damn if Juju Smith-Schuster signs with the Massachusetts Pirates. I am just glad that he is not on the New England Patriots. You and I both have been saying that this guy shouldn't even be here, let alone be on the team. He should have never been here to begin with. Should have paid Jacoby Myers. Everyone knows that. But at least now he's gone. So I don't care. Chiefs, Arena League, XFL, my son's Pop Warner. I don't care. He's not on the Patriots. Get him out of here. Life is good.
I can only imagine the celebration now. I saw that notification. I love the wording from Ian Rappaport, too. It will come as a bit of surprise. I tweeted it. I'm like, this is not a surprise at all. Like, anyone that saw him last year, what was he, 27 catches, 260 yards, and 1 touchdown? He could barely move. In another bad receiving room, he could barely move. Maybe they'll give some looks to the outside. I'm talking about the Patriots here to try and bump it up. But I think it just paves the way. If it's Jalen Polk, it's Javon Baker, it's KJ Osborne, Kendrick Bourne coming off his torn ACL. I think Jalen Reagor, because of the upside he brings on special teams. We saw Kayshon Boutte, the amount of snaps he was getting and the targets and making some tough catches. And then there's the wild card of Tyquan Thornton. I don't think he really adds anything. They cut him. They don't owe him any guaranteed money, so he'd be no loss. And I think he's a pretty much tapped receiver at his potential. But they have those names. They looked at Juju, and Gerard Mayo had a quick quote about it, but when speaking at practice on Sunday, but he was basically like, we look at our young receivers, we value what Juju did, we need to concentrate on them. Basically saying, this is all about a foundation year. We saw with Drake May of how specific they are with his snaps and what type of reps he gets. Purposeful snaps, right? It's not the quantity, it's a quality of reps. They're doing the same thing with their receivers. They look at those guys who go in games, in joint practices like they'll have against the Eagles. We need the young guys to get their go and go through there. Let's talk about the preseason game. Drake May, this is the big one to me. There's Joe Milton and what he did for fans, especially people outside New England, being amazed by him and dazzled. But Drake May, I was pissed off, man. Just 6 snaps. It looked like it was going on script, as I said. I said, give Jacoby a drive, maybe 2. Let Drake May get the rest of the half as long as he's protected. And then let Bailey Zappi and Joe Milton figure out the second half. I don't care about that. Jacoby Brissett goes, sits, decent drive. Drake May comes out, 6 snaps, 3 pass attempts, played behind the chains because Chuks Okorafor at right tackle had a false start and pushed them back. Now, he did have a nice completion on a screen pass to Antonio Gibson, who had a good run after the catch. He had good ball placement as well with his check down to Kevin Harris, but it's a check down. It was like, a end around rope out pass. Play action pass, middle over the middle to Jalen Reagor. It was high. It was incomplete. Get that ball in. I just think they have to be so mindful that it's now to get the good reps for Drake May in 3 preseason games and the joint practices. Because once the regular season starts, and Travis, you hate it, but he's not going to be ready to start week 1. But once it starts, all the reps with the ones go to Jacoby because you have to still keep the locker room in mind. If you're saying it's about winning, but then Drake May gets reps in the ones, they're going to be like, what are we doing? I'm trying to win games. Then you have the vets looking at him sideways, like, why am I putting my body on the line? Jacoby's a guy right now. Give him the reps. We want to win games. I don't show up to get you guys a draft pick. I show up to win games. Once the regular season starts, it's going to be Jacoby with the ones. They should have put him out there longer. And Gerard Mayo, he said, yeah, well, the plan was to tie Drake to the starting offensive line. So once it came out, and I was like, all right, fine. I was like, all right, I get it. You want him well protected, because that's my big thing. Protect him so he doesn't digress in his development. But the second and third team offensive linemen played well. It was clean pockets for the most part for Bailey Zappi and Joe Milton. This Panthers team sucks. This Panthers team sat everybody. Drake May should have played more. I understand the offensive line thing, but the offensive line was performing. And you can protect them. Hand the ball off. Let them get practice of communicating plays, making checks at the line, running your offense to the line of scrimmage. But make it simple. Hey, Drake, 1, 2, 3, get the ball out. We don't want you getting hit. If it's a bad pass, it's fine. Within these buildings, we know what you're doing. That's all you have to worry about us. But instead, they gave him just 6 snaps, and they could say, well, he'll play more week 2 against the Eagles. This Eagles team, obviously their starters are great, and you'll see the second game is when most starters play. But even their backups and the depth they have, that's what I don't like, is that this is going to be a better Eagles team. Just he should be getting as many pass attempts and as many reps in all 3 preseason games this preseason.
I thought they were just being soft. You know, he needs to play with the ones for the offensive line. Okay, great. And it was raining. It's like, just let the kid play football. Like, he's literally going to spend his career in Foxborough. You don't think he's going to be in rain and snow and sleet and all kinds of nonsense? Of course he is. I just thought they were being soft. You know, I was glad to see Joe Milton ball out. The issue I had is the same as you, I'm sure, which is he's going against substitute teachers and Uber drivers. Like, let's see Joe Milton against the 2s even. Hell, forget the 1s. Let's see him against guys who are going to make the team. So I would add to what you're saying, because I agree. I want to see more of Drake May this week, but I also want to see more Joe Milton as well. I already know the Jacoby Brissett movie. Give him a series and get him the hell out of there. I no longer want to, need to, desire to, anything to see Bailey Zappi. I am over it, okay? No one's trading for Bailey Zappi. He does not need more work to put on tape. We got the tape. We're good, bro. You're getting cut. So I need to see Jacoby for a series, Drake for a half, and let Joe Milton finish the damn game for all I care. But what I don't want to see any more of, George, is Bailey Zappi. Please, zap your ass out of here. I can't take it anymore. Why is he getting so much playing time and snaps? We already know what you are, and it's not good, bro. It's not good.
Yeah, Bailey Zappi, they gave him all those reps. I think we're going to do it game 1 when we're not going to play a ton of guys. This is the film that you're going to have to send, and we'll send it to other teams. This is your audition. Go ahead, get that out of the way.
Cool, Joe Milton, more. No mas.
Joe Milton going against a bunch of future XFL players, like, I don't put much into it. And this is the same Joe Milton we saw at Michigan and at Tennessee. We know he has a big arm. We know he's athletic. And again, that's why I said, like, Joe Milton and Drake May, this is going to be their quarterback room moving forward. Maybe it takes time for Joe Milton. I can see him being a practice squad guy this year. And then next year when Jacoby's gone, Drake's a starter, then he's actually your backup. But think about Drake May. Big, size quarterback, huge arm, athletic. Joe Milton, bigger quarterback, bigger arm, just as athletic. So if Drake May, knock on wood, anything happens to him, you don't have to change your playbook. Now, if anything happened to Drake May and Bailey Zappi was your backup, everything changes once that offense goes. So they want the continuity, which I understand. And if Joe Milton continues to put preseasons like this, if he goes from a 6th-round pick to returning trade value in his 2nd, 3rd years of the league as a 4th or a 3rd-rounder, then guess what, man? That's a great ROI just on draft picks and prospects, because Drake May, why you took him at 3, is he's the guy for the next 10 years. But the Joe Milton on that touchdown pass to Jaquay Jackson, look, good pump fake, read the single cover safety on the free safety, drew him to the other side of the field, fit it in. Jaquay Jackson with a good double move, but was wide open. He's not going to get that open. It was a busted coverage. He will not get that open when it comes time for the regular season. Don't put too much stock into Joe Milton. The priority should be, why did Drake May not play that much? And I am going to be patient with Gerard Mayo. I'm going to be patient with Alex Van Pelt because I think the workflow that they gave Drake May reflects how slow they want to take it with him in his development. They literally had to restart at his footwork the second he got to Foxborough. Literally had to change which foot he leads within the shotgun, how he takes a shot under center, a snap under center, everything like that. So it's a big restart, and they don't want to go too fast to mess it up. He still needs to see live action, and he still needs to get better. But for anyone to be clamoring Joe Milton, like, why don't we play that guy? There's been a lot of bad quarterback play in New England ever since 2020. I'm talking the Cam Newton years. For them to see a flash like Joe Milton will excite them. They just haven't seen what Drake May can do yet. And it goes back to, keep in mind, Drake May with more reps has less interceptions and less sacks than what Joe Milton has taken when Joe Milton himself is going against worse defenders. I'm talking about practice here, not in the preseason games.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you may be right. We don't know anything on any of these kids. My point is this. Even if Joe Milton ends up being better than Drake May and beating him out for QB1 one day, we don't know. But I will say this. I need to see the kids. I don't need to see Jacoby Brissett. I don't need to see Bailey Zappi. So I'm hoping in the game against the Eagles and even the last preseason game against the Commanders, let's get the youth movement started at quarterback. I don't need a ton of reps from the old dogs who can't play. You know how they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks? No shack, Sherlock, because Jacoby Brissett nor Bailey Zappi are learning any new tricks at all. I need Drake May and Joe Milton to get more time in these next few preseason games. And the other thing I want to see is something I mentioned to you going back to the Carolina game. I would like to see the Patriots in a close game late at some point in this preseason. I don't care who's quarterback. And I want to see Gerard Mayo and his coaching staff, George, call the game, manage the clock. How do they deal with that pressure? Even though it's preseason and it's fake pressure, I still want to see them deal with it and how they come together as a staff and handle that. I want to see both young quarterbacks in Milton and Drake May get more playing time, and I want to see the young coach in a pressure situation at some point in this preseason.
Yeah, it was 17-3 the final, and they had the football with Joe Milton. 2 minutes left in the game. They got the ball back from the Panthers. In that instance, I would have loved to seen, even though it's against third stringers and games out of hand, a 2-minute drill offense and just go for it. You give the practice to a guy like Joe Milton, see what you have with him. But more importantly, Alex Van Pelt's play calling and Gerard Mayo's decision-making with timeouts, what to do, when to go for it on fourth. Or if they just played, like, go into that situation like, hey, Joe, we're down 3. Let's play this like we're down 3. Let's see what we can get, and if you can put together a game-winning drive. That's the stuff I want to see instead of them just kneeling it out with the minute 51. Now I'm happy they put me out of my misery because I'll be honest, I was at home, watched Jacoby go, taking my notes, watched Drake May go, taking my notes, and I was excited. Like, cool, let me get more Drake May. The second I saw number effing 4 on the field, I let out like, you got to be kidding me. And my girlfriend's like, what happened? I'm like, no, it's just I'm Bailey Zappi. That's it. That's all it is. Like, she was actually concerned. Like, I don't know, I spilt wine on the carpet or something like I do every other night. No, I was pissed that I saw Bailey Zappi that early. Because also, NFL teams have the last 2 years to see what they have with Bailey Zappi. Actual starts. Spot starts when Brian Hoyer goes down with the concussion in Green Bay. Actual starts when Mac Jones is injured and can't play.
Yep.
Why are you giving him these preseason reps? I don't care. It's a different system for him. He's not going to be here. He's either going to be waived and then signed to the practice squad if he clears waivers, or he's going to be traded for a 6th or 7th round pick. And that's both best case scenarios for Bailey Zappi and for the Patriots. I want more Drake May, Gerard Mayo. Everything is going to be him learning the job on the fly. Decisions like this, let the kids play. People can say, well, there's rain and all this. Drake May is a football player. He played at UNC. He knows how to not take hits, actually, which I like about his tape. He'll run. There are times he lowers his shoulder, but he knows how to slide, knows how to get out of bounds. He makes those smart decisions. He played with a terrible offensive line at UNC, bad receiving core, a new offensive system because Phil Longo left for Wisconsin. He's played through adversity. He can play in the freaking preseason against second strings. I do want to point out, offensive line, Vidarian Lowe at left tackle, City So, David Andrews, Mike Onwenu, Chukwukofor at right tackle. Then the second group, Vidarian Lowe at left tackle, who's been okay. He hasn't been terrible. He's been okay. Michael Jordan at left guard, Nick Leverett at center, Layden Robinson at right guard, and Calvin Anderson at right tackle. those units were fine. Even the third string unit seemed fine. So it's against the Panthers who stink, but like Drake May would have been fine. I do like that. I saw there's execution up front. There were a lot of penalties, like false starts, pre-snap penalties, and Chooks at right tackle was still off with his timing. But there's progress being made. It's not as bleak as I thought it will be. The Eagles matchup against that awesome off defensive line, that's the real test, especially in practice this week too.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to get the kid hurt, but I would love to see Drake May deal with it. I would. I need to see him. I need to see him, man. Like, I didn't get enough. I didn't see anything. I saw check down Charlie. Like, let the kid play. Let him grip it and rip it. Let him be under duress. Let him run. Let him figure it out. Let him be uncomfortable. Let him play. We just didn't see him play, George. We need more.
There it is. Get it.
No. Almost got him. I felt the wing. I felt the wing right on my pinky. I clipped him.
You know what this means, bro? You got to take a shower. I've been telling you the past few weeks, but time's come. That fly's not leaving you. I was waiting for it. Really, I caught that fly outside. I brought it in the studio just to make a point. He's my plant. Hey, this is Boston's End of the Chat. I'm George Blexy from the PNC Bank studio. He's Travis Thomas battling flies. He's going to take a shower. We'll see you guys next time. Same place, same time. We'll be back to our old setup by then. Later.